Thinking about picking up one of these Fender Deluxe Player Stratocasters? We'll take a tour of this very unique, sort of labradoodle strange model of Stratocaster today, right here on GearGasms. Hi kids, welcome to GearGasms. I'm your host, Alan Barnes. Today we've got the Fender Player's Deluxe Strat, not to be confused with the new Player series. This was a Mexican Strat, although you can't tell. It speaks English very, very well, better than you and I possibly. Es una lástima, pero es la verdad. But it had a lot of features that weren't available on a normal Strat, and that's why I got it. I wasn't really getting along with normal Strats. I thought it was the fingerboard radius that made me not like them. So I thought, well, if I got a guitar that has all the sounds of a Strat, yet has a flat fingerboard radius for my little sissy fingers, so I can play my weedly leads with lots of bends and not fret out like on a curved fretboard, maybe I'd like it a little bit better. So today, we're going to take a look at some of the things that make this a really unique Strat. You can still get them used aftermarket. They're probably a really good deal. So we're going to do that, but first, the data. It is indeed a lovely beast made in Mexico, the Fender Deluxe Player Strat, Rosewood board, all gold hardware, ash body, tortoiseshell pickguard. Right in here you can see we have the vintage noiseless pickups from the custom shop. Or at least that's what the literature says. Down here, the standard Strat controls 5-way switch, but we have the S2 switch, which brings the bridge pickup into a couple of different configurations. We'll talk about that. Just a beautiful piece of ash, really light. This is a nice light Strat. Gotta get the back of it for those of you that like ass shots. Gold Fender tuners all in a row. Smooth satin finish back of the neck. Beautiful. Well, one of the first things we want to do, it's not going to be a shootout, but since the guitar we're talking about today has noiseless pickups, we're just going to put a regular Strat in front of this hissing, loud, angry Marshall behind me and see the difference between regular pickups and the noiseless. Can you hear that, kids? Let me put it over here next to this studio light. Oh my good golly. Same thing, same cable, same angry Marshall, volume the same. Let's crank up bridge pickup volume and see what we get. A little something, not as bad as before. Off, on, much less, not totally silent. Let's put this beast over to the light and abuse it like we did the last one. So what we're finding already with these noiseless pickups, they're a lot less noisy under normal conditions. Normal conditions probably don't include sticking it 4 inches away from a LED light source that is as powerful as the sun when it's turned up and nearly as hot. That's probably not the claim here that they're making for the noiseless aspect of these pickups. But just in the room, it's a little bit of noise, but it's not that 60 cycle hum. Now, one of the things we went over when we were going over the data of this particular model, in addition to being just gorgeous, we talked about this little push button doohickey here. That's what Fender calls the S2 switching system. You've got the standard 5-way switch, and with the S2 button engaged, all it does is add the bridge pickup to positions 4 and 5 on this guitar. So if you think about what position 4 is, normally it's these two guys right here, but with the S2 engaged, all 3. Never been able to been done on a Strat before without some crazy mods. Position 5, again, it just adds the bridge pickup, so then you got these two together, which is again a pretty unique combination for a Strat. We'll go through those two positions specifically and let you hear before or after. We'll do so with the dirty sound and then maybe with the clean, just to make sure we cover all our bases, because that's the main difference. You pretty much know what the other positions sound like, and we'll do those too. But for right now, let's just focus on our friend, the S2 switch doohickey. All right, so we're in position 4, which normally sounds like this. S2 switch in, so now we've got all 3 going. You could tell the difference even with the gain. I could. You'll definitely hear it when we go clean. All right, position 5, just the lonely neck pickup by itself. S2 switch in. Before I forget, t-shirt shout out time. It's Elvis this week, kids. This was his first full-length album on RCA Records. Classic. If there were one Elvis record that I had to give to someone who knew nothing about Elvis, this would be the one. GearGasms number of the week, 35. 35. That is the rumored amount in pounds of impacted feces that was in Elvis's. GearGasms number of the week is 35. 35 what? 35 lbs. That is what is rumored. GearGasms number of the week is 35. 35 what? 35 lbs. That is the amount in pounds of feces that was rumored to be in Elvis's colon. Let me get a straight face. GearGasms number of the week, 35. 35 what? 35 lbs. Supposedly, allegedly, there's a rumor that there were 35 pounds of impacted feces in Elvis's enlarged and distended colon at the time of his death. Let that sink in for a minute. 35 pounds. Forget the drugs. That would have killed any man. The lesson we can learn from that, kids, is if you're going to do opiates, stir them in with some Metamucil. Let's switch to the clean channel on the Marshall, and I think we'll get a better idea of what the S2 switch does, and then we'll move on, because I know you're tired of it already. The 4th position, which is neck and middle together, same basic beginner chords. S2. All right, now we're going to go to position 5 with the S2 in, and I know what you're thinking. Would it kill you to play the damn exact same thing every time? Probably. I'm winging it here, kids. Position 5 without the S2 switch. With switch. Now, for my money, that is the most unique, probably, when the S2 switch is engaged, is position 5. It's these two together. It just brings something totally different. Dare I say, almost like the middle position on a telly, but not quite. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It feels like something brand new, which is something you don't hear a lot when you're talking about a guitar that's like 90 or 120 years old, or however long ago they made the first Strat. What made me pull the trigger on this was it was $100 more than a regular Mexican Strat at the time, And for the beautiful ash wood and the gold hardware alone, that was probably worth it. When you throw in the S2 switching and the extra flexibility, made it even more worth it. The custom Shop Vintage Noiseless Pickups, that's not a cheap upgrade. But what really sold me was, this is a 12-inch radius fingerboard, as I mentioned before. 12 is a much flatter Gibson type radius. I thought I'd always had trouble bonding with Strats, and I thought maybe it was the radius, the curved fingerboard. So I thought if I got one that had all the ingredients of a Strat and sounded like a Strat, but the fingerboard wasn't so curved, the frets felt a little more jumbo, that I might be able to bond with it. But strangely enough, when I got it, it was the flat radius that I really didn't like about this guitar. As far as the noiseless pickups go, there's two kinds of people. People that like them and people that really don't. There doesn't seem to be any gray areas. I can't tell you which one of those people I am at this point, because there's the sad fact of having too many guitars. It's kind of like having too many kids. You don't get to spend as much time with them as you'd like to. All right, we're going to do this in a track. This is the Line 6 Amplify, some backing tracks that are built in, something kind of bluesy. I know you guys wanted to hear this Strat just a little bit with some music instead of just my same old boring, naked, empty noodling. So instead, I'll give you some of my same old boring, empty noodling wrapped in a blues track. Well, kids, what did we learn today? We learned that there's a rumor that Elvis had 35 pounds of feces in his distended colon at the time of his death. We learned that sometimes a weird Strat is just what the doctor ordered when you're having trouble making friends with a normal Strat. We've learned that the S2 switching system is really kind of cool. It's not something that I would mind on any Strat. I don't know why they don't do it more, because it's certainly not intrusive. If it's not your thing, you just keep that little button pushed out and you need never know it's there. It's not going to ever bother you. It's not going to suck any of your tone. It's not going to remove any of your cool. We've learned that a Stratocaster with a 12-inch radius just feels kind of fucking weird. We've learned that these vintage noiseless pickups, they're not for everybody, but they do have their uses. I find that they sound similar enough to regular single coil pickups. I don't understand what all the fuss is. We've learned that I only really like gold hardware on white guitars, but for some reason I bought this thing looking like it just rolled out of the player hater's ball. As always, thank you for your time. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. We're going to try and keep this fun and informative week after week. I'm your host, Alan Barnes, saying we'll see you here again on GearGasms.